Let's have a look, see. Oh. I believe we are live. How are we doing, guys? Evening all, if anyone's in the chat. Evening, Lee. How are we doing? Hope we're all good. Enjoying this lovely sunny weather we're having. It's shocking, isn't it, this week? Shocking. Let's set this up. I'm ready to go. I ain't got to wait for nothing. I need to get on late more often, I think. Right. Today's the 10th.
Oh. Yeah, I'm here.
Back.
I think I've got everything sorted. I think that's working. I'm going to go from there. Just going to wait for Philip to hand over to us.
No problem.
Evening, Maz. Evening, Lee. Hope everyone's doing okay.
Just turn that off.
For hand over, Philip to end. Then we'll be live, guys. Ready for this week's chit chat.
Who am I going to be this week? Is it Skeptic Paul?
Enjoy, Maz. Enjoy.
Oh, she going away again? I'm so jealous.
Right. Let's go. Click us back on. That goes there. That's very random. That started off halfway through the song. Never mind. It's now time for you to sit back, share, relax, let your mind wander to the deepest, darkest. Evening, Sandra. Evening, Mickey.
Evening, Sandra.
Good evening, guys, and welcome to Journey Through the Unexplained. It's the 10th of October 2024. Where's the time going this year? We are live. We are back. We do apologise. I wasn't on last week, but I was on holiday. Well, I wasn't on holiday just early, but I was away. We are back. We're back on your airwaves. I'm hoping everybody can hear us. I'm hoping we're all tuned in. I'm hoping everything's working fine because I am running what I would call probably sort of a makeshift studio. Still no computer. I do think we're on air. Somehow we're doing something. I just want to say a massive thank you to Philip Solomon that's taken us through the last hour over on Pulse Talk Radio. He was talking about Carl Will's little lad, Ryan. I just want to sort of re-emphasize everything that Philip is backing up here and saying is, you know, if you do want to get in contact and help raise some funds for Carl Wall's little boy to get him some mobility, this new wheelchair and things like that, please get in contact with the station, Pulse Talk Radio, and see if you've got any, ideas or donations. Please get in contact with Carl, the station owner, and he'll put you in the right direction of where we can sort of make donations, events and things like that. Anything we can do, we will also help on this show as well. Absolutely. But we have got a show to get on with, and what a show we're going to crack on with tonight. Welcome to the show, Mr. Paranormal Paul.
Good evening. I'm good. How are you?
I am living the dream, as one likes to say. Living the dream.
Nightmare or good?
Living the dream, one likes to say, Paul. Living the dream. If the lottery ever does want to hand itself to me, then, I'd be willing to take it quite easily, to be fair.
Well, has your bad streak eased up a little bit?
I say that through gritted teeth. Yes and no. Things are still happening slowly, but it has subsided just a little bit. So I'll be touch wood, for small mercies and everything like that. Where we went the weekend, obviously because of a couple of weeks prior to that, I did tell you that the Air of BB got cancelled. Did I tell you that? Yeah. So I had to book another one, and it was absolutely lovely. The lady who owned it and everything like that was amazing. It was on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Nice. All you had to, the cows mooing, the sheep barring, and Fred the dog barking 24/7, which was absolutely fun though. And my Christina, being a dog walker, yes, she offered to take Big Fred for a walk, and Big Fred is the biggest German Shepherd cross between a husky that you've ever seen in your life, Paul.
Oh, God.
Well, it was past my waist, Fred was. High.
Jesus.
And I don't think he's ever been on a lead before in his life, because my socket has now, this arm has now grown an extra foot long. But he did enjoy his dinner that we give him every night. Well, on the Sunday night, I did a roast dinner, and I left him some meat there Saturday, and he munched it up according to the ladies. So I'm far more than happy. I'm happy that I've helped Fred gain a few more pounds. But other than that, we're doing all right. What about yourself? Good week? You said you've been busy?
I haven't stopped, mate. I haven't stopped. Yeah, it's just been full on chores at work and chores at home. But I'm trying to get everything done. Got my birthday next week and a Halloween party the following week. So I'm getting geared up for that now. I want to get everything out of the way so I can have a couple of chilled out weekends.
Dream on, Paul.
It's going to be full on.
Welcome to everybody in the chat. I hope everyone is doing fine. We've got Lee in the chat. Where's me? I've got to hit the right mouse here. I think we're live. We've got Lee in the chat. We've got Maz in the chat. We've got Sandra in the chat. We've got Mickey in the chat. We've got the lovely Heidi in the chat. I do believe Heidi's going through a few health issues at the moment. So we're wishing Heidi loads of positive energy to you. I do believe that she was at the hospital either yesterday or today. So I hope it's all news and scans and everything are going in the right direction. To the lovely Heidi Hansen, all our love from everyone through Journey for the Unexplained and Pulse Talk Radio to you. Oh, let me do it. Hold on. Guys, you've got to get it. You've got to get this book. All right? Number 3. This is number 3, okay, of A Life with Supernatural Events. Go and get it. If you haven't got it, why haven't you got it? I don't know where you get it from. I do believe you can get it. It's on Amazon. What a silly question, stupid question. I know where you get it from. You get it from Amazon, all right? There's parts 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you go and get it. And if you haven't got it, there's more books. There's loads of books. Please go and get that book, all right? A Life with Supernatural Events, all right? This is the one you're looking for, everybody. This is the one. Close-ups. This is the one. Head out. Get It by the wonderful Heidi Elizabeth Hansen. Okay, great stories, real life events, a great connection with the paranormal. So yeah, go make sure you get it. Evening, Nat, as well. Welcome to the show, Natalie. Well, welcome to the show. I know Natalie is anyway, so it's just come up on the real name rather than sometimes it comes up through a work name as well. So that confused me just a tiny bit. I'm easily confused. We all know that. Right. So let's crack on with tonight's show. And I think we're going to have to address the elephant in the room. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I do believe that most of you on the chat will have TikTok or something along them sort of lines. And in a previous show, we was talking about a second moon that would be visible, well, slightly visible through a telescope. It wasn't what we was hoping, that we would see a second moon like we see out there tonight. Now, my question to you is, Paul, when was the last time you saw the moon?
Yeah, a while ago. I went out there at the weekend looking up at the sky. I think I can't remember if it was Friday night or Saturday night. It was quite cloudy, so I thought, okay. But even when it's cloudy, you usually get that bit of light coming from the moon, don't you? Just sort of lighting up the clouds, but nothing. All weekend I tried to find it. As I said to you, I couldn't find the moon, and I was out there again tonight. Just as the clouds, it was a lovely clear sky over where the moon usually is, the same place I always look every night. Have a good old butchers at the moon, and it wasn't there again. So I have no idea where the moon is. Forget about the second moon. I can't find the original moon.
Well, the moon is there tonight. I have the first time I can put my heart, and say the moon is out there tonight. And it is a full half moon.
So where's it been?
Exactly that. And we've got a lot of people in the chat. Lee says, I swear I haven't seen the moon in the last 10 days. Not for a few fair days. Now,
it's supposed to be 3 days, isn't it? I think it can disappear for 3 days. I think it is when it's.
I think it was 2 point something, wasn't it? The exact was something like 2 point something days where the moon. I've seen the moon. I've even taken a picture of the moon. I saw it when I was leaving work. It's a full half moon. Okay, I can, I put my hand on my heart.
Is it in the same place it always is, Russ? Because I went out about an hour and a half ago and I couldn't see it.
I only saw it when I was leaving work. So in conjunction with my home, I would see it even though I'm pointing to the wrong direction to the screen viewers, this is to my right. Okay, even though it might look I'm pointing to my left, this is to my right, and it would be over the side of the house. It would come up. Now, I didn't see the moon when I got home, but I did see the moon when I was at work, and it was a full, clear half moon peering through the clouds. And that is the first time I have seen it for a very long time. And I've tried to look for it every night. I know that we've had a lot of cloud cover, and we've had a lot of bad weather as well. But as you say, there's normally some break in the sky, or a lighter, them sort of opaque clouds that you can see through it, and you get a glimmer of it. But I will ask Mickey if he's still here, and Heidi as well. Have you had the same issues over where you are? Have you seen the moon? Have you witnessed the moon in the last, let's say, the last week to 10 days? And, is it a UK thing? Is it they're hiding something in the UK? Is it,
it's definitely happening in America as well. I've seen a lot of people talking about it in America.
Yes. Now, we have to sort of, are we sort of, without the going down too deep down one side of it, because let's have a look. What did Hailey just say? No, it seemed not to be around when looking at the night sky. So Denmark is having the same sort of, sort of issues. And I will say issues, okay? I will say issues because I don't feel this is a natural thing. This is definitely some form of manipulation going on. But where do I fit it? I don't know. Now, obviously, within the last sort of 24 hours to 48 hours, that Florida, America, has been hit with some severe weather, tornadoes, hurricanes. So, if anyone is listening and has the ability to witness this from from Florida, our thoughts and prayers are with you. I hope you're all safe. I hope you all managed to get away from it for whatever reason it was being. That this has been, if it's natural, it's natural. If it isn't, God forbid. But it does feel suspicious, doesn't it? I know, Paul, you sent me a video of what do you call them? Relief centres for hurricanes outside of the city, and then black helicopters coming in.
Well, that was the North Carolina one, wasn't it? The one that happened last week.
Oh, Helbert or whatever, it's Hubert or whatever it was. Was that one?
Yeah.
Helena?
I just don't understand it. There's a part of me that's like nothing shocks me anymore. But I mean, you can't get much more blatant than just deserting your own people. I just don't understand it.
But then I have looked at it two different ways as well. I don't know if it, is that the own state calling for help and getting manipulation of help? I don't know. Or is it a generalisation? Once again, we talk about these black helicopters. We know what black helicopters stand for. But yeah, but I didn't want to go down too deep down this route just at the moment, because is this lot of moon having an effect on the weather?
Which, I mean, if it's just out of sight, then no, it shouldn't. But if something else has happened to it, well, apparently the moon controls the tides and the, this and that. So if it's moved out of the way for a little while, then it's going to have an effect, surely.
Yeah. We see, what's the film? Is it Bruce Almighty, the film? Where he's God for a day, isn't he? Is it Bruce Almighty? Yeah. And he pulls the moon, doesn't he, to make it bigger for a romantic night, and causes problems within the earth, floods and things like that. So maybe the moon disappearing or something happening to the moon has caused detrimental effect somewhere along the line. Not to say that we've had bad weather, but we've had quite freakish weather over the last couple of days within the UK.
Very strange skies. Very strange. And the cloud is really low as well. And I mean, when you say, I get quite a good view when I'm driving home from work down the A1306, Russ.
Yeah.
Quite open. You get a lot of sky to look at. And some of the colour of the clouds, I mean, it looks like, sort of hurricane clouds. They're so dark and it's
apocalyptic.
It's not normal. Yeah, it doesn't look normal.
They look apocalyptic clouds, but I've noticed that for quite a while. That's something that I don't feel is new to me. That I've noticed the skies have been quite freaky looking. There seems to be always a cut within the clouds, if that makes sense. When the sun goes down, it almost feels like I'm looking at it as a kid again. You get that deep orange, red that just splits it's got.
Yeah.
And my nan and mum always say, "Oh, look at night coming in." and it's a dark cloud, and you say, well, no, it's not. Night doesn't come in on a cloud. It's just, but it looks like that. It's a flat line. But I remember that as a kid, rather than in recent times. And it feels like it's gone backwards to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what is going on. I am not quite sure what is going on and what they are physically hiding up there at the moment. I really don't, because, you know, some of these cloud bursts that we've been having in the UK, I've never known water to fall out the sky. Never have I known rain to fall out the sky like I have seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Like cloud, it's just like if someone's just got a bucket and done that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Joe, evening, Joe. Did you see the TikTok video of the guy asking what the forecast is in Florida, and Alexa shuts down each time he asks? I didn't see that one. I didn't see that one. Once again, Alexa, it sort of tells us the truth sometimes away along the line, don't they? Mickey has said mad colour in the skies here yesterday. He's based over in Spain. I think I had the video.
What about the moon, Mickey? Did you witness the moon at all over the last 10 days?
I'd be interested. I'd be interested if Joe saw the moon, because I know Joe lives on the coast, quite close to the coast, and you know there's going to be more views there than our built-up area. So, I haven't seen it. It was the first time I've seen it for a long time, and when I expected to see it, I expected just to see the slice.
Yeah.
But no, I've seen it's a full half moon. Half moon. I really do. And I don't know why we haven't seen anything regarding that. Now, I don't know why. I do not know why, but why was we told about 2 moons?
Yeah. Only for it to disappear. That's what I've been thinking, Russ.
Now,
getting everyone to look up and then.
But why, look at logically when we say, just like what we said, when they said we was going to see 2 moons, what I was expecting to see 1 moon, identical. Yeah. But we was told, no, you got to use a telescope. Well, that to me says you're going to see another star. If I've got to use a telescope to see another moon, it ain't a moon, is it?
No.
Now,
but I've seen people saying with telescopes set up saying I've been waiting every night to get a capture of this so-called second moon, and I can't even find the moon.
I know there's been a lot of videos, regarding the missing moon, looking for it, especially in the States. Obviously, no moon, and as you say, Paul, it does go missing for a period of time. It can go missing, but for this long, never. But I go back to say the new moon, these 2 moons. Okay. Well, how many times do we say they tell us without telling us? Have they changed the moon? Has the moon changed? 2 moons. Upgraded the moon, which, one of my theories in Antarctica holds the projector for the moon. Now, perhaps they've got this new super OLED 6K ultra high definition, ultrasonic super massive projector that they've had to put a bulb in that's taken a long time to fit to give us the new ultra high definition so-called moon. Potentially. All jokes aside. Right. So many questions coming in regarding this, or comments. See a theory the other day about the moon actually being a satellite. James Webb telescope is also supposed to be a theory that it's another sun. Joe has seen it, but a of cloud cover has been predominant this month. So Joe has seen it. Mickey hasn't seen it in the last couple of days. They are getting us all to focus on this while something else is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Diddley case and 23andMe. P Diddy case and 23. What's 23? Am I missing something?
23andMe.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
No.
Sorry, I've lost that one, Lee. It's not always visible by default. Yeah, the default is around about, I think it's something like 2.6 days. It shouldn't be dominant to us to see. But I haven't seen it, I say, for weeks. 2 weeks at least. And looking at the moon now, and how I see it now, I would have seen something on Saturday and Sunday night because I sat in the hot tub to the early hours of the morning, as I normally do, looking up at the sky. For the first time, I saw about 6 shooting stars.
Wow. We're actually going through that sort of, what do you call it? Like a meteor shower type thing at the moment.
Well, we saw some quite good ones. Some really different light anomalies. In the sky. To one of them actually stopped and then went. We saw it physically stop. You see a lot of satellites. The more I look up now, obviously we've got the Starlink, we've got all the other satellites, and they're sort of, it's like the M25. They come in little waves and you see it. But there was one that we watched come into shot and you could see it in your peripheral vision. It come in and you could see it and it stopped. Just stopped. And then went. And it stopped for a good 30 seconds.
Wow.
A good 30 seconds because I was going to get my phone. And then I don't know if anyone else has witnessed this within satellites, but a satellite comes in, you can hardly see it. It gets somewhere sort of above you, and it just beams like a light, like a real light, just lights up. And as it carries on going, it just fades. And I saw that twice. Even Christina saw that. It was like, I don't know if it's obviously where an angle that a light could hit us. You get that point where the angle is right on point. But I saw 2 of them, but the one that stopped really sort of freaks me out. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, oh, well, that stopped. And Christina went, that's stopping. Or it stopped. Is that the one? I said, yeah, we both saw it. We continued looking. It just went again.
That's bizarre.
Really bizarre. But that's what you get when you go up sort of, we was in the Cotswolds just outside of, between Warwick and Oxford, and the skies were beautifully clear, and you could see it all. And knowing I would have seen some part of the moon.
Yeah.
From 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning, I would have seen some part of the moon on a clear night. And I don't think it would be big enough from a no moon. What would it been? Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 nights, 3 nights. I don't think it would have got that big. I really don't. Sorry, we are going backwards and forwards here, but people are commenting. 23andMe is a DNA company that brought all the DNA to anyone who submitted to Ancestry.com. Oh, Interesting.
Now you've said that, I have heard about that, ancestry.com.
Lee sent me a video on that. I'm sure he did. We're going through hemorrhoid belt, Paul. That's why. You might even see Uranus.
He's a comedian, isn't he?
He was going to get me to say it, wasn't he? He was trying to get me to say it. Put it into a sentence where he knew I would just read it. But I've got you there, Mr. Downs. I got you there. Good time, Mr. Downs. Good time. But what is your take on it, Paul? I'm going to ask everybody in the chat now. Joe has seen the moon, so obviously Joe may have a different take on it. But anyone in the chat that hasn't seen the moon and you feel that you should have seen the moon, what's your take on it? What are they doing? I'm going to ask you first, Paul.
Yeah, I was racking my brains earlier, trying to think what would the reason be if it was a deliberate thing from us, sort of, because nothing. I haven't heard anyone over here really talk about it. Nothing on the news or anything like that. So you kind of just dismiss it, didn't you? Oh well, it must have changed to the location for whatever reason. I don't know, but I really can't put anything to it, Russ. I don't know. Naturally, I couldn't say. I can't say that it's gone. If anything, the only thing that sort of keeps creeping in my head is maybe something's covering it.
Yeah,
blocking out. Blocking that. I mean, you're talking like something that obviously would be huge, but I don't know. You hear a few things, didn't you? That these massive spacecrafts have been spotted, and you think, the size of planets, some of them.
Yeah.
You think, well, what if something like that went in front of it, stationed up? But I genuinely don't know, mate. It's completely baffled me, and I don't usually struggle to sort of think of a situation or scenario to peg something into, but with this, it sort of stumped me a bit. I haven't got an answer or suspicion.
I do get where you're coming from. I do get where you're coming from, because yes, we have had a lot of cloud cover. We've had a lot of strange weather. So it could just be like a low moon, where it doesn't get up as high as it normally gets, and we're just not seeing it because of where we are on ground level. I have to look at this and think there is something more to it. I do think this is a part of this. I still think this is a big part of the disclosure. We're still, we're getting people to question the moon, and this is a questionable thing. We're getting people to once again look up in the skies and question what is up there, but not making it a big thing. As you said, if it was a natural thing to happen, where we've lost the moon, that would be on the news. We've got a once in a lifetime. It's going to be where the moon's gone missing for 4 days instead of your 2 days. Nothing to, this happens every 60,000 years, so no one will ever live through it again. They
say on the news every time you have a new blood moon or a blue moon or this and that, things that happen a couple of times a year. So something like this, you'd think someone would say something somewhere.
Yeah, and that's where my head goes with it. That's where my head has always gone with it. If there's something related to the moon, eclipses and things like that, they do tend to inform you. They really do tend to sort of give you that information regarding what's going on. For them not to do it, and this is where my head goes, they're either manipulated the weather to make it, I say, Joe said, look, it's been predominantly cloud cover and things like that. So that to me could be manipulation of weather. So we're not seeing it, and they could just say, well, it's been bad weather month this, we've had a lot of rain, nothing to worry about. Don't panic. If it ever was to come out, people are not going to pay no attention to it. But there is people like us that will question it because people around us are questioning it. Yeah. People are asking us questions about it. Lee texted me and he just said, have you seen the moon? I haven't seen it. Well, I haven't, but that's not to say, there's other things about it. Then you go, if you've got someone like that, and I'm not saying Lee is anything different, he's coming into the conspiracy line and the rabbit hole with us, but he's questioning that himself. And you think, someone's messaged me that, and I'll have to pay attention. I'll have to go out and look. Every night I've tried to look for the moon. It's not there.
That's the thing. I done the same even over the weekend. I was like, because it's something I always do, like yourself, Russ, when you're in the hot tub. It's the one thing I always look for, and it's always in that same sort of semicircle around my house.
Yeah.
And I always, when I'm in the garden, I look up just to see how the moon's doing, say hello and all that. And I didn't really give it much thought until I started seeing people posting about it. And then I thought, well, no, I never found it either. So then you start paying more attention to it.
It does lead you down some random conspiracy theories, because there's been quite a, what do you mean? Like a ta-ta-ta on TikTok, isn't there? With people about the moon and people for the moon. And, quite big wigs within the TikTok conspiracy world have gone at each other, which is unlike, that side of things. So that also gets me questioning. They're causing that argument again. They're causing that everything about what we see.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, divide and conquer. Make it a debatable question. Make it debatable, because it makes us look stupid. The moon gone missing. Oh, don't talk a load of old. You ask 90% of people and they would call you ludicrous. It's up there. You just can't see it. Exactly. You can't see it. So why are you questioning it? You can't see the moon. Yeah, but it's behind a cloud. Oh, whatever. I get it. I do. I get it. I do. Because then that gives me an argument against somebody else. And then they clash. A clash. What they want. For me, there is something there. I do think it is to do with the disclosure, this slow release of disclosure. I do feel that the moon, people will shoot me down and think I'm crazy. Do I think the moon is a legitimate thing? I'm not too sure. I do urge on the side of, I don't think it's real. Do I think it's up there? Yes. What it is, I do think there is some form of extraterrestrial being that lives on that moon. I do feel it is some form of base. If it's
an unnatural object.
Yes. I'm not saying it's been built. Do I think it's anything like the Death Star? I don't think that, but I do think there is a life form that is on there. That could be us. And I think something's been going on up there, because obviously we've had the SpaceX rocket go up this month in the last couple of weeks to bring home, or get ready to bring home, the astronauts that have been stranded in the space station, if they're stranded in the space station and not 20 leagues under the sea. But do feel that there's something being hidden. There's something being hidden regarding it, and I think it's knocking out the big wigs within the field, that the ones that are going to question it more, obviously the US, us. I don't know if it's quite filtered across the rest of Europe. So yeah, I'm not too sure, but I do think it is hiding something regarding what is either being put onto the moon, transferring for the moon, landing on the moon. Obviously, if we're looking through telescopes, we can quite visibly see the moon quite clearly. Now, if they're doing anything structural to that, or landing things, or things taking off, or coming from the dark side of the moon, which no one's ever been to or seen, yeah, to me, something is hiding the moon. This weather is hiding the moon, so it's doing something. Right, loads of comments coming in. They say the moon affects people's mood. Very often when we have a full moon, people can go a bit batshit crazy. The behaviours are noticeable and are experiment with controlling people's moods. If the moon goes all together, how would it affect people's moods?
I like it. Yeah. Well, it's lunar, isn't it? It's lunatic. That's where it comes from, isn't it?
What do they say? If you stare at a full moon for 3 hours, you go lunar crazy. Something like that. Lunar mad. I think you can stare at it for a certain amount of time. It makes you go crazy. That's a really good one, though, Lee. That is really good. If they're experimenting with, well,
they're trying to control us every which way, aren't they? So, I mean, if they can use that, then they're going to. Let's be honest.
Well, that's massive. That's a massive. That's a massive coup there, completely. That is a real massive. Definitely. I think Mickey left to agree. The chemtrails change the moods of all of us. So
yeah,
that could be it.
The other thing as well, the crap that's being sprayed and the geoengineering that's going on at the moment. You're seeing the effect with birds, insects. How many insects and that, and butterflies and moths have you seen over the summer?
Well, I have seen something over the last week that I'm going to hold that thought. Yeah, hold that thought, but I'll come back to it. All right. Because I've got comments just coming in that need to be obviously. Sandra, 2nd of October was a new micromoon, apparently, which means you are less likely to see it.
Oh.
See, there's the scientists telling us why we haven't seen it. Joe.
But how does that work? So this is where I need, just before we move on from that, the moon isn't exactly changing distance. So what is it that changes? How is it some nights it looks so big, like massive, twice as close to Earth as it should be, and then you're getting micro moons? I don't understand how that works, if it is what we're told it is.
Sorry, someone's just messaged me in and questioning, and I was trying to read it. But
I'm just saying, I can't work out how that works when you get these moons that look twice the size as what it does normally, and then the next breath it's micro moon.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sold on the whole. The moon is real. Okay, I'm not sold, and that's the scientists telling us what they want us to hear. The thing is, we don't pay attention to the moon during the day. Most of the time, the moon rises in the daytime, but we tend to look clockwise as it's in the faint in the blue sky, and you see it sometimes in the mornings as well.
Yeah, I often look at it
in the mornings. And the mornings haven't been that bad. The mornings have been quite blue, and the last couple of days have been rainy. But prior to that, they've been quite nice mornings. And with Joe on this one tonight, it's definitely out tonight. It's dipping in and out of the broken clouds. I can confirm I have seen it tonight, or the thing in the sky. The moon does change distance, Paul.
Yeah, but not as much as it would
It's an
to make it look twice as big as what it does, and then micro. You've got the Earth there. The moon. I mean, the moon isn't like
micro moon. I don't. Yeah, where's it gone?
Yeah.
As you say, full moon to nothing. That must mean that moon's gone 100 million light years away to make it non-existent, and plus the sun's not got a shine on it. I get where you're coming from, but I don't know that word. It's an elliptical orbit. Why is it not changing distance, Paul? If the Earth is moving different from the moon, it will be nearer at times and further away at times.
Yeah, but apparently, well, not as much as what it would to affect the sight and size of it. You're talking thousands of miles, aren't you? Surely. I just don't, especially if you're believing in the heliocentric model. That the moon's we're flying through space, and the moon's. I just don't. I don't know. I don't buy
the size of the moon. It's near or far, so it's proportionate to that. I think it's going to be one of them ones that we're never going to. Plus, refraction causes the big moons. Yeah, Joe's turned into a scientist tonight.
Yeah.
Joe's got into scientist mode, hasn't he? Elliptical orbit is egg-shaped orbit. So that does the egg shape. All right, got you. Egg-shaped orbit, that's just I'm confused with it all. I am confused with it all. When it comes to science, at the end of the day, we haven't seen the moon for days. Okay, it's back tonight. Thank God. And if it does affect our moods, then I'm thinning out on the top there, and I look at that. Don't dip me head. We are, it has been odd. Let's just say that it's been odd, and moods have been odd. I really like that comment that Lee put about odd than the moons, backed up with the chemtrails and things like that. And that got Paul saying about bugs and things like that. Now, I saw something the other day, probably about a week and a half ago, that I've never seen before in my life regarding crane flies. And I mean, I had never seen so many crane flies in my life. There was a wall of a whole side of the building was covered from top to bottom of crane flies, of billions. The doors, you would never been opening the doors. There was piles of them in the corners of the doors, like a door arch.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't have opened the door because it must have been that thick all the way around of crane flies, all along the floors, all along the walls, to the point of said building had to close for 3 days.
Wow.
Because there was an infestation of crane flies. Now, I'd never, ever seen anything like it in my life. And it was biblical. Like you see the films where the billions of locusts. Or
Yeah.
Biblical term. Now, I can't say where it was, Lee. Okay, I can't say where it was. So that give away where I work, but it wasn't my building.
I remember when I was at senior school. You got them sort of demountable buildings. There was a couple of them on the school, and every year we had a similar thing. The whole side wall of this thing would be full up of crane flies. Every year. And it wouldn't be thick, but you couldn't really see the wall. it would literally be from top to bottom full, and it would happen the same time and it would only happen for a couple of days.
This went on for a week.
Wow.
Right. And I know it's that sort of time for crane flies, the moisture. We had that, hot, cold, and it was absolutely where it was, and it does. It goes with, because Joe's put in, what's this to do with the moon? Did I miss something? Yes, you must have missed something. Because it was talking about the moods of things and the different, what was it? This question here. So this was the moods would affect missing the moods, batshit crazy, things like that. And Paul went on to say about not only is it human, but it's affected insects and things like that. And that's what got me thinking about what happened of my place of work, or next door to my place of work. And I'm used to it every year because we're on a field, so I'm used to the crane flies. But Paul, when I say, if I put it into a thickness of, you could put a ruler into it and it would still keep going before you reach the wall deep.
Wow.
We're looking that.
That's crazy.
And they would dive bombing, obviously, our site. Regardless, you couldn't get out of one gate because it was just, the gate is probably 15 foot tall, and half of that was covered in crane flies, and you put your hand towards the lock and they would just swarm your hand, climb up your arm. They would just not, but I do believe that crane flies are the most poisonous spider or fly within the UK, but they haven't got the fangs or something to pierce the skin. They can't pierce that skin. Well, I hope that, they don't sort of evolve where they can.
Yeah.
But it was definitely, they were definitely I won't say aggressive, because that's the wrong terminology for it. They were different. These were different. I'd never seen anything like it. I'm used to it being on the side of a field for our building. Very used to it. But in this proportion, no. There is something massive. And I didn't put this to, at this point, the moon wasn't missing.
Yeah.
The moon wasn't missing. I'm not saying there is any link to it, by the way. This is not what I'm saying, but it's what I'm saying. It was very, very peculiar. And Lee saying what he said, and you saying about species of animals and things like that.
Yeah, you can kind of add them together, can't you?
Yeah.
Something's happened there.
Definitely. Could also be a change in our biodiversity. Potentially. But yeah, it was just very, very bizarre. Freaky. Beyond freaky. Everything's going beep. Can you hear my things? Everything's going beep beep. Changing in weather patterns, like increased rainfall, can cause population spikes. We know it's been very wet. I get it, but honestly, I didn't go, get any photos, because it was just carnage. For 2 days, it was just carnage. I was just lucky it wasn't my building. We just had access to one gate that we couldn't use because of it. But literally, we were sort of involved somewhat, and how to get access to the door was use a leaf blower to clear them down and push them away. Well, I'm talking about we sort of looked through a crack in the fence while said person was doing it, and it worked. But within seconds,
Back again.
back, just back. And I am talking about depths around the walls, like that deep. It's about that deep. If you said 2 foot out, 2 foot high, around the corners of the doors, all the way around archways where they could really hug together. Scary, man. It was scary. It was really odd. We should call this journey through the science class now. we've got them all in. But I say I trust Nat because she works with that side of things, flies, bugs, and everything, and very knowledgeable in that sense. So to me, could just been a spike in weather, but putting it to the moon, knowing something wasn't right. Something wasn't right. That was odd. If it happens again next year, then I'll say it's natural.
Yeah.
I will definitely say it's natural. If it happens again next year in the amount that we saw, yeah, very odd. But if that is anything to do with what you were saying about the moon, the chemtrails, and the spikes in moods within humans, I don't know if I've noticed a spike in human mood, though. Do you noticed it?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of people a lot more miserable at the moment. I mean, but I don't know if I could put that down to that. I think I can just put that down to how hard it is to live at the moment,
Yeah.
But, I don't know. There's a lot of misery out there at the moment.
Yeah, I think that is just, where we are. Joe can't see the moon link, but we're not trying to link it to the moon, Joe. We're just saying that the moon.
Giving examples, mate. Giving examples, possible examples.
That's it. We're not. The moon causes mood swings in people. Lunar mad, lunatic, as you said. It's there. It's a thing. Lunar crazy. Yeah. So yeah, have I been miserable? Probably, but I'm shattered. There's things out of my control at the moment that are not controllable. So yeah, but I can link it to things that, as you say, life. Do I think the moon is playing any part of my mood? If it is, I'm not 100% sure. That makes sense.
And you ain't gonna realise it either, are you?
No.
Whatever you're feeling, you ain't gonna say, "Oh, come on, moon, sort yourself out." You're not gonna,
Yeah, I say I don't. I've never. To be fair, I have never adjusted. I've never looked at my mood swings and put it to moon phases. So maybe that's something going forward that we can do, just in case. But no, the moon hasn't been there for weeks. I'd say weeks. I'd say at least. I'm with Lee on this. At least 10 days. It is there tonight. I can confirm I have seen it. Okay, I have seen the moon tonight. But other than that, no two moons either. Different part of the show. Okay, first time ever we've had a question sent into the show. So this is going to be question time now. And Lee has sent a question in before the show started. Right. He said, "Can I ask a question ahead of tonight's show?" And I know we've got Heidi in the chat. I'm hoping we've still got Heidi in the chat because this will sit with her, Mickey as well, Joe as well, Sandra as well. Anyone else? I don't know who else is in the chat. Right. One of alien or other life forms exist. Where does that leave the paranormal? And can they both exist at the same time?
Just to say that again, Russ, please.
Right.
Again.
One of aliens or other life forms, exist. Where does that leave the paranormal, and can they both exist in the same place?
Yeah, I would say yeah. In the same place.
Yeah, in the same space. I would say yes. I think the paranormal.
Yeah.
See me, I sort of go along the line of it's all linked. I think to communicate with extraterrestrial and to have a link with extraterrestrial, you have to have a link with the universe. You have to have a link with the paranormal, as in, for want of a better phrase, speaking to the dead. I think you have to have this ability to adjust your vibration, and to be a medium or a paranormal worker or anything like that who calls sensitive to spirit. You have to have this ability to adjust your vibration. And I don't see it any different communicating with extraterrestrial life form. When I had my experience in Wales regarding the extraterrestrial, quite in my face, and how it was done in a spiritual lowering of vibration to get there and to meet them. And I think that happens all the time. I do see it as a link, and I don't think you can do one without the other. I think it all links. I feel it all links into the same big category of how this works. I do think people who are ghost hunters, for want of a better phrase, will have more chance to experience extraterrestrial activity. I know Simon isn't too well, so I don't think Simon's on here tonight, but his linkage to what he's seen and how he sees it and how Sandra sees it, both have seen exactly the same life form of extraterrestrial, and they both had similar experiences. Both took a long time to come back to the here and now, and both had that trance-like state of when it actually happened, or a separation from their own self of when it happened. I physically remember Simon when we was in Rendlesham Forest. When we were in Rendlesham Forest, he become not Simon. I would say there was quite a sternness, an aggression, not in a bad way, but he almost channeled trance-like the extraterrestrial. And that's where I think that vibration of lowering yourself or hiring yourself, however you want to see it, becomes very, very, very important. And in my head, when I do my mediumship and when I do my extraterrestrial stuff, it is slightly different. It has to be, because it is dealing with a life force that could be potentially living, but we can't see. Or is it a life form that is past, that was once here and is associated with our genes, our genetics? We have an ability to talk and communicate with deceased people. But is it, what happened to Simon at Rendlesham? What happened to Sandra at Cannock? What happened to myself in Wales? Now, could I categorically sit here and say to you that the extraterrestrials I contacted or spoke to were alive? I don't know. I don't want to say yes or no because I couldn't confirm that. Do I feel they were alive? Yes. And I will trust myself. Yes, they were alive. And you could physically see them, but I was seeing them at the beginning no different to how I see spirit. When they come close, when they start to move around you, when they start making you feel different. The shadows moving in the tree lines, the movements was no different to sort of when I've been on investigations in forests. That's where the crossover for me is happening now. I do ask when I'm there, is this extraterrestrial, is this spirit? And I can sort of now feel the difference between it. I don't get very much aerial phenomena when it comes to extraterrestrials. I get more ground level experience with extraterrestrials and more an ability to talk or understand them. As I said, when I spoke in Wales to that, how do I explain it as the aqua orb? The thing, it just looked like the thing from The Abyss, the film The Abyss, where it comes up out of the water. This, if you look around where it says explained, that color purple, but it was translucent, that it was beautiful. You could see the swirlingness of it. You could see it. And they told me why they were here, but they never spoke to me in a voice that I knew. It wasn't like this, I'm telling you. It was just simply, why are you here? What are you here for in this ability? What are you doing? And it's all that they were telling me is, we're here for your water. We want your water. It keeps us going. It's your water. And it was absolutely teeming down with rain when me and Jay was coming back down. That's all he kept saying. And I say he, I'm genderizing, but there was 3 of them that felt like, mum, dad, and, child. But it wasn't a talking. It was like a telekinesis of, I know what you're saying. I can't understand a word you're saying, but I know what you're saying. It was a garbled message, but I knew what you were saying. It was that clairgustant, voyant, or whatever you want to call it, as a knowing to it. And that's why I say the ability. Do I think they can all coexist? Yes, because a part of me says it's 100% the same thing within the universe, and it's how we split it by our own self-acceptance. That's just how I see it. Sandra, I would say yes. All linked. It's a yes from me. 100% a different vibration level. I experience both aliens, ghosts, and other beings, gods, etc.
But this is it. To me, I think it's like everything's energy and frequency, isn't it?
Yes.
And especially with mediumship, I think it's no different than tuning a radio, an analog radio. You've got human spirit, extraterrestrial, say gods, etc., and you're communicating. You're changing your frequency and dialing into each station, so to say. When with your experience, Russ, as you're saying it, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm sitting here thinking, with mediumship, even with residual energies, you can sometimes pick up on the feeling of that residual energy. So with what you experienced, were they actually there, or had they been there? And it was the residual frequency that they'd left behind that you was picking up on, and you was able to communicate with that, and you're getting a feeling of what they were feeling, and that's how it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's how I'm sort of looking at it. You could have just been in that. You could have just tweaked your frequency from spirit to extraterrestrial, so it switched what you was picking up on onto the frequency they was emitting or left behind. You tapped into it. The same as, like I said, with spirit. You know, are you actually talking to them, or are you picking up on their feelings and what was going on? And it's like, yeah, to me, definitely it can all be at the same time, place, and but. And I think even with parallel universes, that can kind of slip into that as well, with the turning of the dial and the frequencies. I think that you can tap into that and communicate through that as well. So, yeah, 100%. For me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I say I can only explain how I felt at the time. I felt in two different places, two different forms of extraterrestrial. I've been in Rendlesham Forest, where I felt threatened, and I do feel that Rendlesham is a lot darker. I think that's why people tend not to be there. I think if you go on your own, you feel in fear. I think if you go with other people, you feel in fear. I think they're quite I won't say as aggressive as in they're going to hurt you, but they've feelings. They present themselves as, it gives you that shuddering sort of feeling that, okay, it's ramping up here. I don't quite like being here. I feel a little bit intimidated here. I'm going to leave. That might be because it's unearthing questions. I don't know. But when I had my contact, I didn't want them to leave. I didn't want them to go. I wanted to ask more questions. I'd never felt fear. Not once did I felt fear. I just wanted to sit and ask more. But when I've been in Rendlesham, I've always had my back turned up against them, because and at Cannock, when Sandra, it was like, let go of Simon now. You've said what you've needed to say. You've told us what you've needed to say. You've shown us, but don't let go of Simon. Let go of Simon. That's all I kept saying. That's all I kept saying in my head is, why can't you let go of Simon? Do you need more from him? No. And Simon, it took Simon a long time, and we had to get him right out of the energy and away from, way out before it. And no different to Sandra when we was in Cannock. There's separation, and the one in Cannock actually followed us out of the village. Obviously, Simon, Tina, Lauren, and Henry lost time. Around about 3 minutes of time. They were witnessing it, following us in the car. We had to pull over at the side of the road. We had to pull it over at the side of the road to try and bring Sandra back to the here and now. So, yes, yeah. There's two differences for me. Two differences that I have experienced so far. Probably more, but I couldn't really tell it. So, yes, I do think we can exist on all planes at all times. I think. Long way around it, but we got there. Right. Lee's asked another question for anyone who's had an experience. Why have we never, to our knowledge, coexisted on this planet together? Why, if we believe, is just humans on our planet? I did read that we believe hybrid aliens, by aliens, what people think. We do coexist in my eyes. I think
there has been evidence of it as well. When you look at the old sort of ancient scribings and hieroglyphs and things like that, 9 times out of 10, somewhere along the line, they're showing sort of an alien being, isn't there, or a visitor from heaven or something like this, and with the people around it. So I think there is evidence of it. It's just how it's portrayed. Yeah, you know.
Joe talks about reptilians, you know, all the time. All the times about reptilians, and you know how I say these. You know, I understand what Joe talks about. Do I see them as lizard people? I'm not too sure, but I do see them as a running of different meanings. You know, I think they've got a lot of people that they pull strings for. We look at the David Icke. He's, you know, the reptilians, and he was the one who said the Queen was a reptile of Reptilian Nation. So we do coexist. They're here. I think we see them on telly more than we think. If anyone told me now and come out and said me the truth that Joe Biden was some form of alien, I would absolutely say, well, I told you, I called it months ago. So yeah, I'll have that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, I do think we Heidi's experienced reptilians. Joe's talking about the Greys as well. Others talk Greys are the same bed as US military. I go the opposite way to there. I think the Greys are just as bad as the reptilians. I think there is, yeah. How do I? Joe's saying there's one.
What you was doing, yeah.
There's one behind me. That's a tall grey. Tall greys are ones that you see in Signs. Is it film Signs?
Yeah, yeah.
That was a grey. That was a tall grey.
But like any of them, I think just because of that's the species of alien, you know, I think they'd be good and bad in all species, you know, the same as us humans. I don't think just because you know, at the end of the day, if they're a living breed, they're going to have characteristics. They're going to have a conscience, and they're not all going to be bad just because of their race. I think you'll have good and bad in all of them.
Oh, exactly. And I still think we've got alliances with some. We've got, you know, we've got enemies with some. You know, we talk about, was it Eisenhower and things like that, and who was the Nick? Was it Nick? Not Nixon? Was it one of them? Kennedy, Eisenhower. It's very strong links with. They've got treaties and you know, plans in place for, you know, if it does help. Yeah, you could go down lots of things. We know. I think it was Eisenhower, wasn't it? Eisenhower and Churchill. Was it Eisenhower and Churchill?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Have both met with Greys and discussed. I think also in World War II, a lot of pilots witnessed UFO help as well, didn't they?
There was a hell of a lot.
During World War II, coming towards the end of the war, a lot of pilots come out and said there was, witnessing help and the Foo Fighters. And I think even Heidi has watched and witnessed an actual galactic battle, for want of a better phrase. I don't know what you would call it, Heidi, above your home.
I remember that story. And apparently it made the local papers as well, didn't it?
Yes, yeah, something like along them sort of lines. So yeah, I think we do coexist, very much so. It was Foo Fighters. It was Foo Fighters, Russ. Not joking.
Yeah, Foo Fighters. It was. That's what they named themselves after, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought he was trying to say. He puts these jokes in at the beginning. Now I think he's he's
Yeah,
telling
see, it's like
jokes
a
all
boy
the
who
time.
cries wolf, isn't it? You keep
Yeah.
joking, and when you're serious,
It was the name of the alien ships. Right, got you, Joe. Sorry, I take it back. All right, I thought you was talking about the band, the Foo Fighters. Um, um, uh, uh, Over 150 people did too. Also, my dad and my mum and sister witnessed it as well. So, which was
wow.
which is great. You know, you've got your backup there, which makes you feel a little bit better sometimes. When 150 people also saw it, you think at that point, you think, well, I weren't going mad. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it gives you a bit of.
Can you imagine if it was like today with all your mobile phones and
Could you?
easily you could take a picture and film it and stuff like that.
Right. We've got 10 more minutes, so we've got Leah's put another question. Right, this is going to. Can you get Heidi on to come on talk a podcast experience? I need to know more. Yes, when Heidi feels better, Heidi is going to message me, and we'll get her on the show, and she can talk about some of her experiences. She's got some great experiences, from paranormal, ghosty ones to extraterrestrials. We did speak about it a few weeks ago. I'm leaving it in the hands of Heidi, and when she feels confident enough and feels well enough, we'll get her on the show for an evening and we can talk about all her experiences. And
Yeah.
because, and I mean, we're not talking about sort of category D experiences here. We're talking about class A experiences here. All right. So we definitely will, Lee. Okay. We definitely will. We've got 9 minutes to answer this question. Paul, you fire off first.
Yeah. See, I'll kind of go back to what I was saying before about the Project Bluebeam. I think some of these abductions were more us rather than extraterrestrial. You know, doing that sort of reverse engineering, see how far they can push, what they can do, and what they can get away with. You know, for you've just lost 10 minutes of time or an hour, or you know, and but for the people doing it, that could quite easily just be an injection. And what's MK Ultra, that type of thing. You know, when you're telling them or creating memories that didn't actually happen, that sort of thing. But I'm on the fence. I'm not saying that I don't 100% say that they're not true. I think one of the ones that really got me was that film, The Fifth Kind, was it?
Yeah.
Do you remember that one
Yeah.
in Alaska? I think it was. When you see the actual footage of that as well, that kind of gets me. I think it's the same with anything with UFOs, with UAPs, and this and that. You know, I think 90% of it is us humans doing it and testing out, but that 10%, or even 99% of it's us, and that 1% is genuine and real. And do they get returned? Eventually, perhaps, if they want to.
There's quite big cases around the world, you know, with regarding alien abduction and things like that.
Yeah, but you've had people turn up sort of like 50 years later and things like that.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it. That's not to say it doesn't happen. I'm not, you know, I'm not necessarily sold on it. I've done, I think I did an interview with Joe, will remember it, is with Philip Kinsella, and he had been abducted. He claimed to be abducted, and his experience of it, how he described it, and everything sounded horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And I do believe that the pictures he drew of the abductees were reptilian of nature. You know, they had the skulls, the lizard features and everything like that. And he said it was horrendous. But he described how it happened. He could feel his body leaving. He could feel him floating up through the, you know, through the building, through the walls to, you know, going up. And the more I listened and the more I felt in depth, Ronnie Kinsella. Yeah, sorry, it was Ronnie Kinsella, Joe. Sorry, I do apologise. The more I listened to him, the more I felt it, the more it was more of that sort of vibrational feel again, that more of that being outside of your body, that yeah, he was moved through a solid roof. That's how I remember it. And that got me more on the side of, you know, the out of body experience. You know, it's not necessarily the taking of the human, what we are touching, but more of the insides of us, that spiritual side of us, that vibration that we can lower to distract ourselves from the communication. And once again, one of them, I don't know if it's Ronnie or Philip, does do readings and works mediumistically and does, you know, spiritual stuff. So once again, he was very much in that ilk of that leaving the vibration of your body and being able to separate from the here and now. And if they can tap into that through some form of device or whatever you want to see it as, then I'm all, you know, abduction is different, I think, for people. Do I see it as a physical thing where they come and collect you and take it and anal probe you? No, I don't. I don't think that is a thing. But I think they can remove your spiritual consciousness, what I would call my spiritual consciousness, and that out of body experience that people can experience when you're looking at yourself and seeing yourself around you. When people what do they, you know, when they astral travel, you know, we did a good interview with I can't think of his name, Saint Berry it was, and he explained how he could astral travel through time and be in certain places and go and see things and meet people and everything. Now, and that would be just the same sort of experience, the same sort of being and feeling of that spiritualism. Astral travel, yeah, and I think it's all the same. I think that astral travel is the same as the sort of the trance-like state, but it's a deeper feeling. It's been trance-like where you can let spirit come and talk through you, but when you can do astral traveling, it's taking that whole lower vibration and sending it out there. That's how I think abduction happens. I think we can be at the right place at the right time and everything just clicks and you are there, frequency and vibration. So I guess that he was spirit lifted through the body and still in bed, but I'm not sure of the details. Yeah, I think that's sort of something along them lines that happened. Once again, it was a really solid interview, and not to say I don't believe in abduction, I just don't believe in how
physical.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's because it's all the same. You know, yes, we all got taken up, we all had this and that. And yeah, I do get it because I think Heidi's even witnessed looking in through a spacecraft while something was being operated on. I might be that totally wrong, but I'm sure she was walking through with a friend through a park, saw a low craft come across. They both stopped, and as she looked in through the window, there was humans and aliens together. I think Heidi will correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure she will. Steve, we won't go down that route on this. It was last week. It was a couple of weeks ago. We spoke about flat Earth. We won't talk about it this week. All right. So go back through and have a listen to them shows. It was, I'm sure Heidi has experienced witnessing something going on through windows of a craft with humans and extraterrestrials. So I don't know if Heidi's still with us. Hopefully she will correct it. If not, she will let us know at some point. But we have come towards the end of the show, guys. It is right on time. Thank you ever so much for everyone that has joined us tonight. Hold on. Just as we go, yes, I looked into a huge UFO together with my sister and her boyfriend in the Green Park in I can't say the word, and experienced 2 large UFOs. So,
wow,
all good. So, I've just had a message come through. Apparently, we can see the Northern Lights in Essex tonight.
Ooh. Well, you can see them now, or
I don't know. So we'll have to delve that one. We'll all be out with our cameras at some point tonight. It's weird. The moon's come back though, isn't it? Now we're seeing the Northern Lights. Strange that. Well, I'm going to say good night, everybody. The moon is there, Lee. It is there tonight. 2 of us have seen it. I can confirm 100% the moon is there tonight. Right. Guys, take care. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you again next week. We'll be back next week. We're going to have to talk about the Omega Hummings.
oh yes.
But we've jumped because of what was going on this week with the no moon. Okay, so we will try and do something on that next week. Thank you to all our wonderful listeners over on Pulse Talk Radio. Take care, everybody, and we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to everybody who has joined us over on Facebook and YouTube. Joe, Steve, Lee, Sandra, Maz, Mickey, everybody. If I've missed anybody out, I do. Natalie, I know he's watching. Sandra as well. Thank you, everybody, for all your questions, your help. It makes a show flow with your questions and your opinions. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week. If you've got any thoughts on the Omaha Hummings or Omaha Hummings or whatever they're called, we're going to talk about that. All right. So take care, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.